quickest way to become a game jacker is to simply replace all your vowels with numbers. But all jokes aside, hello everyone, it's me, Game Jacker, and today I'm gonna show you how to become a real game jacker and how to jack any game out there, because of course, every game can be jacked to some extent. The question is, what is possible, what isn't, what techniques can be used, and do you know the techniques to use? Now, we are going to start with the easiest stuff, and then we're gonna go through the iceberg, deeper and deeper, to the most advanced and difficult stuff you can do to jack your favorite games, the stuff you can potentially learn. However, warning, the easiest things are gonna be very easy. The hard things are gonna be, for a lot of you guys, almost impossible. So if you want to skip the last part, most of you will probably never get to that point because it's just that advanced and there's so much know-how required. Now, the first mistake that a lot of people make when they are jacking games is that they're using the very easiest thing that you could do, which is simply enter the name of your game plus jack into your local search engine or Google. And the problem about that is you will only find scams and spam and just very shady stuff that will almost never work. Because, you know, unlimited everything in online games, it sounds great, it doesn't exist, doesn't work. So, what you're gonna wanna do, if you wanna use someone else's game jacking software, what you're gonna wanna do instead is head over to hackerbot.net by simply Googling Jackerbot and going to jackerbot.net and use the Hack Finder tool over there to find legitimate cheats from legitimate providers, allowing you to simply filter out all the fakes and only find legitimate stuff. So for example, there are all kinds of free cheats for Android, iOS, PC, consoles, not so much. Most of the stuff that you'll find on consoles will be paid, but if you're looking for free cheats, hackerbot.net is the best place to find the best providers out there and look for the stuff that you want to download that is actually clean and it will actually work, as opposed to search engines which will mostly serve you spam and scams. So what you're going to want to do is head over to Hackerbot, go to the tool, Hackerbot tool, the Hack Finder tool, and just simply enter the name of your game. For example, Free Fire, let's say mod for iOS. There we go. And you will find legitimate downloads. Take the, of course, up-to-date version of the mod that you're looking for, or the game jack that you're looking for in the case of PC, or whatever software you're looking to download. This works for any platform. iOS, Android, PC, consoles, it depends. It depends if the console is already jacked, which means does the console allow people to install their own software? So it has the has it been jailbroken, basically, which is usually the case for older consoles, not the very newest ones. So that's the first one. If you're looking to download someone else's cheats that have been made for you, which is of course the first and lowest level, the easiest thing to do, then use hackerbot.net to find legitimate downloads. Now, the next thing, if you're not looking, if you want to go more advanced in your game jacking career, then what you're gonna want to do is use cheats that, well, tools. You make your own cheats, kind of, but kind of not. So what, for example, falls into this category is stuff like memory editors, like for example, Cheat Engine, or in the case of Android, for example, Game Guardian, in the case of iOS, Game Jam, or other software that allows you to memory edit your game. Now, with these tools, again, it can be very simple. It can get very, very complicated very fast. You can do simple stuff like scan for your money value and change the money value, or you can go very advanced and create mod menus and very advanced scripts using these tools. Now, the first step, if you really want to learn how to be a real game jacker, is to consume as many tutorials about how to use memory editors as possible. And going more advanced, you know, from simply changing values that you can see to changing values that you can't see, that you have to scan for by means of scanning for values that are increased or decreased because you don't know the actual in-game value, and then you go from there. You create your own AOBs, your own mod menus if you are ready for it. However, this can get very advanced very fast. A fair warning, these tools, all of them you can find on hackerbot.net under software. There are the top tools for Android, for iOS, and for PC as well. This is the next step down. Another thing is, for example, automated patchers, such as, for example, Lucky Patcher, or I don't have it installed at the moment, or Freedom APK, that will automatically modify certain games for you and create your own modded APKs. However, for modded APKs, generally, I recommend to simply use hackerbot.net by simply googling hackerbot or game hacks and go to hackerbot.net and downloading mods there for Android and iOS users specifically. Now, tools are the next thing, and memory editors are definitely the best kind of tool to jack your favorite games. Now, for online games, of course, my whole spiel about online games, money hacks are not really possible in online games, which means you need to find other means to kind of do the same thing, and that is where bots are something very powerful, and they are actually easier to use arguably than game cheating tools, and they are also one of those cheats that they're not quite using someone else's software. They're kind of creating your own thing, but not really. So what a bot is able to do is automatically play the game for you by simply repeating user inputs, for example, that you recorded. Now, this is the one kind of bot that I recommend you to use, is a script, a macro basically. So what a macro does, it records what you do. This is my video on macros. You'll find it on this channel as well. It records everything you do, for example, here on PC, and it will then replay that. And you can replay it in a loop, which means you can click the same buttons over and over and over again automatically. There's also visual recognition, so you can recognize when a button moves somewhere else and still click it, which allows you to then make more elaborate loops to farm online games specifically, which works for a lot of them, not all of them. Like, you're not gonna automatically bot farm a shooter using this, generally speaking. But for example, a game with a static navigation, such as your general gacha games that need you to complete missions and then have an auto battle option and stuff, this will absolutely work on. So bots are another tool that you can use to create kind of your own cheats, but kind of not, because you're using an advanced tool, in this case a macro recording and editing software that someone else made for you. Now, this is probably as far as most of you will go in this kind of game jacking journey, because if you want to go deeper than this, then using tools, again, you can find the links down in the description. While you're there, please leave a like and subscribe if you want more of this jacked game jacking content. This is, for most of you, this will be as far as they go, okay? Now, if you want to get more advanced, coding will have to be what you're going to have to learn. So more advanced is then, actually creating your own game jacking software. So actually creating your own EXEs on PC, your own modded APKs on Android. Now, for example, modding APKs, it's not actually that, well, small modifications are not that bad to do, but if you actually want to, for example, implement an aimbot into a APK file or into an iOS app, you're going to not only have to learn very basic just coding, but also machine code. So basically, when you create code, it then gets compiled into machine code that the machine can understand, because coding code is made for humans so that we understand what we're doing, but the machine code is made for the machine. And the problem about modifying games in particular and implementing cheats into games is that the games, you don't actually have the source code for the game. So you're gonna have to work with the machine code, which is actually code that's not made actually for humans to understand, which is extremely complicated. So if you want to get into the realm of creating your own actual mods and your own actual game cheating software, then what I recommend is you learn to code first. So there's some people that will be able to autodidactically learn how to actually code. Like it doesn't really matter what kind of code you learn, because they can be created in different coding languages: C Sharp, C++, Java. It doesn't really matter that much. Python. But you need to understand how it works. If you don't have an understanding of how it all works and how it is compiled and how the machine interprets code, then you will never be able to actually create your own standalone game jacks, and you will always have to use some kind of tool to make it happen. So some people learn how to code autodidactically, and some people they go to school for that. You know, they actually study. They study how to do it. They study software engineering. I'm not telling you to study software engineering so you can jack some games, but that's what most people that actually professionally create game jacks have done at some point. Of course, there are always autodidacts, people that teach themselves how to do it. But most people actually have some kind of background. Maybe they started learning themselves and then they went to a university to actually get some deeper understanding. But yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do. And most of you, I know, will not do that, because most of you don't care enough about the subject to actually learn everything that would be required. So let's just get over it again. So just finding the cheats that someone else made, for example, by using HackerBot, again, Google HackerBot or game hacks to get there. That's easy enough. Like the hardest thing here is you have to follow the installation instructions correctly. You may have to use an emulator or a rooted device or a jailbroken device. But yeah, that's basically it. Like it's no rocket science, right? Now then, using memory editing tools such as Cheat Engine, Game Guardian, it's actually, if you just, in an offline game you're trying to get unlimited money, it's actually easier than installing a mod, generally speaking. For example, jacking an offline game using Cheat Engine or Game Guardian or Game Jam is easier than installing a mod in many cases for an offline game. So it's not that difficult. Now, if you want to get more advanced, you want to create your own trainers, your own mod menus, it's going to get difficult very quickly, okay? It's going to be more difficult, definitely, than installing some random mod. But it's the one thing I find is the most underrated kind of game jack, simply because of how powerful it is with online games, which the most popular games these days really are online games, if for no other reason than to make the gems that they're selling you unable to be just gotten for free. So they basically use, let's say, they use online servers as DRM for their gems, so nobody can get unlimited gems by, just simply using a memory editor. So they're making sure that they're making money. But all the most popular games that are the games as a service, they are online games for all practical purposes, and they have to be botted many times. So bots are definitely the most underrated cheat, and they're also arguably, if you have the patience to set them up, they are very, very easy actually to do. You just need to invest the time to actually make it work. And you're going to need an emulator if you want to do it for online, for mobile games especially. Now, then when it gets even harder, of course, coding and actually reverse engineering apps and all that, actually creating your own game jacks, most of you will never get there. And to be honest, I can't really tell you that much about it. I have looked at machine code, small I code for Android APKs, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, I do program a little bit here and there, PHP, JavaScript, stuff like that, but the machine code, I don't understand at all. So, and I probably never will. And that's probably the case for most of you watching. So, yes, best shot you have is head over to hackerbot.net, download cheats over there from legitimate providers, try to create your own bots. It's very underrated. There's links for that in description as well. Use game jacking tools and in combination with tutorials, again, that you will find in HackFinder or on hackerbot.net. Use them with those tutorials if the techniques are more advanced than simply scanning for one value and changing it. And for everything else, I would rely on the people that actually have the know-how to do it. But if you're so inclined, or if you're on your path to becoming a software engineer anyways, and you want to do this on the side, hey, go right ahead. We need always more people that can create working and legitimate mods. And of course, if your mods are legitimate, they will be found on hackerbot.net. Anyways, guys, that is it. I hope you now know how to become a game jacker. And do not forget, if you want to be a real game jacker, there is no O, there is 0. There is no E, there is 3. There is no S, there is 5. Always use numbers instead of letters wherever possible, else you are not a real game jacker. Anyways, guys, see you guys later. Like the video, subscribe if you want more of this content, and I will see you guys next time.